And honor is it's a curious thing because it's something that it's so powerful. Men will both kill for it and die for it. It's so powerful. We're back, Hans. We're back. It's been 2 long years. We might have done several podcasts from Mexico, but just over 2 years ago, we were in Brazil at the beginning of the pandemic for about 4 months. We were going live almost every morning, at least 6 days a week. And yes, we're back. Now we're in Medellín, Colombia. We're up to some big things down here. And yeah, we are going back for our brothers inside of this Ronin Radio podcast.
What do you guys notice is different in these 2 years? I think we're a little grayer. And the reason we're doing it is because we came to Medellín to work together and prepare a live event at the end of September. And so leading up to that and leading up because of the content of it, we want to do these again and work our way up to the live event.
Yeah, and I've missed these ever since then. You know, I've been wanting to do these ever since then. So, and I want to do them well beyond the event. So for me, it's very much about, it's my core thing, reaching out to the men and the younger men.
What is that? You said it's your core thing. What do you mean?
It's why I'm here. I feel it's my deeper purpose. You know,
to do what?
Go back for my brothers. You know, to call men together and to rise up and to, yeah, I feel there's a deep longing in most, especially Western men, a deep loneliness, a deep missing, and it gets covered over by addictions and ways that we just accept. Well, this is how life is. But there's a deep longing and a loneliness inside of the hearts of, I would say, most Western men.
What are they missing? And what are they missing? And who are your brothers?
I'll talk about that. I just want to let everyone know that on today's call, we're going to talk about something that's I hear a lot today with men and men who are involved in men's work and leadership work, and that is a bias against feeling. So men who would be dominant or who would be leaders of their people or leaders of their relationship, there's this mantra that you should not be in your feelings, and that if you are, people won't respect you, she won't respect you, and you'll basically be being the submissive or the follower. And they're missing one key feeling in particular that calls men to greatness, well beyond any victimhood and feelings. We're going to talk about
it's like if you look at the past couple of decennia, then men were not allowed to feel, I would say, a couple of 10 years ago or a couple of decennia ago. Decades. And then men are allowed to feel, but it's never been seen as a part of leadership. It's really like, okay, you're allowed to feel, it's good to feel, but it's not seen as a part of leadership or even a pivotal part of it. That's interesting to me.
Well, I had a very strong bias against emotions myself, and you know, many of the greatest contributions to my leadership over the years have actually come through women, and I had this very strong bias against emotions because mainly when you're going from boy to man, what you're trying to do is leave any of the victimhood behind you, you know, leave any of the, you know, complaining, needing someone else, needing mama, daddy to
blaming
solve things for you. And so it is a very positive thing when you're going often, I think, from let's say, teenager to warrior, or to going out in the world on your own, and almost instinctually not giving these feelings much credence, not letting them guide you. And however, there is a lot of great wisdom and leadership potential available in having great facility with your feelings. So I don't know if you want to go back to what you were asking me about before, but
you said, I feel it's the core of what I do to go back for my brothers, and there's a big missing in men, and there are two open loops in a way for me. Who are your brothers? Are they your real brothers, or who you see as your brothers? And what is that missing?
Well, my real brothers do have a stronger pull for me. I think that would be obvious, but and there are men I know who I feel like brothers in a way. But I very much do feel this kinship to all men, or men in general. And I see the plight that so many are in, and I see men like Jordan Peterson, the impact he's had on these young men. And I just see so many of these young men don't have elders, don't have brothers, don't have a connection to a role of honor for their people, don't have the kind of things I had when I was growing up.
Elders, brothers, honor, you said. Is that what the missing is? Or is that the same thing? Are they connected?
As far as this longing?
Yes.
Yeah, think about how the life of most men since the dawn of human history, men were together almost all the time.
Yes.
Men hunted together. Men.
Yes.
And not just together with other humans. They were mostly with men.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden, to be in a world where we're lacking this, it's this natural, biological, deep ancestral expectation that we have this, not just connection, because we're, as humans in today's world, I think, missing so much connection on so many different levels.
Yes.
Separated from nature and so many other things. But we're separated from brotherhood.
Yeah, I think through the work, I see that a lot of the issues that men think they have, are solved not necessarily by content or information or a how-to, but really by being with men among men. And that is both brotherhood, but that is also like the ability to have access to elders and have the respect for elders that can help you on your pathway, So I see the real missing is men among men, which is brotherhood, seeing each other, which is elders, which is also, locker room talk, which is also the honor, because there's competition and there's honor available in men among men, and I think that's a huge missing. And I didn't know it either, I felt a missing, a yearning, and I didn't know what it was, and I could feel I wanted to do things, together with other men. I just want to do it together, I want to create. And then as you grow in alliance, or you meet great friends, or you see that's what it is. That's what you really yearn for as a man, and unless you've experienced it, there's a kind of missing that I didn't know what it was.
And growing up in America, if you didn't grow up like inside of a big family, or inside of a patriarchal family, and inside of maybe religion that was in a lot of ways had a lot of connection amongst men in a more sacred way, I imagine that a lot of men today. Like you can get around other guys, but still be in that missing, still be alone, you know, and still have that longing.
But even that is good. So let me ask you this: what's the difference being man among men and then having brotherhood? Okay, meaning just to be with men, and then what makes it into a brotherhood or an alliance where the missing is fulfilled. And I'm saying because we're here in Medellín and we're working with 3 other men and we're having a warrior alliance, you know. And so we come together and we share our ambitions, our game that we want to play, the victories we go for. We gather, we do ice baths, we talk, we hold each other accountable, and it's fantastic, you know. Just the way just to be out there. I remember we were out there and we were having some drinks and some food, and we're among men, you know, and it's just great. And there was another table of only girls, and you could see the attractiveness of us, you know, just being men among men. Anyway, that is a great. There are 5 random men, okay, and that alone.
Not so random.
Okay, yes.
We all answered a call to be part of a warrior alliance, and yeah.
So
which goes to you asked a question a little bit ago, and it's you know, what's the difference between just men and brothers? I want to say first, I would say most men are not men, you know, and most older men are not elders. So, you know, you could have had a group of guys there at that restaurant, but they're not going to challenge each other. They're not going to call each other out. They're not going to rise to the challenge. They're not going to confront each other in that way and really stand for each other and kind of hold that high bar of pushing each other to greatness. And there's that quality that you have maybe more in a group of military brothers who are all in the same fight together, and you know, you're in the foxhole together, and you're risking your lives for each other. Like that's brotherhood, you know. But I think that so many men today, they're missing that quality of who they could really be as a brother for other men.
Yes. As
an elder for younger men.
Yes. And
just as a man for themselves in their life at a greater level. And the missing is deep.
The missing is deep, and what I'm realizing in these past 2 years is that the key, I think the key with the most leverage is for men to take the responsibility of being an elder. Showing up as an elder, I've seen, has the real biggest, that's the thing that could change the most, you know, because you could be a brother to someone, but if you have a man who shows up as an elder, doesn't mean just older, but as an elder and goes back for a brother or takes care of a younger man in that sense, you know, I think that's the thing that really shifts most, that answers that yearning, that missing, and can create incredible things like brotherhood and honor, and that's a real, I feel that call very strong, and I didn't have it before, to take care of younger men, to say, oh, I can do that, you know? Wow. And you see the effect of it, and a lot of the work I do is just being an elder for them,
yes,
you know, and they could be older than me,
yes,
you know? And just, wow, okay, you show up
and
that way.
There's a lot of honor in that.
Yes.
There's a lot of
yes,
you know. So yes, and what we mean by being an elder, you know, this is also there's walls against this in our culture, in Western culture, especially American culture. It's kind of like the hyper-Western culture, which so many other countries tend to be emulating.
Yeah.
Is the ideal is freedom in the sense of not needing anyone, and you know, having fuck you money, right? So to not need anyone, well, imagine if a younger man needs mentorship.
Yes.
You know, a brother even, your physical brother is going through tough times. You know, and you feel that need. You know, and that can feel like a burden on you. You know, and so you want to create this very independent life. You know, quickly unfriend people on Facebook. There's so much advice for young men today that I feel is damaging.
We're here to take care of each other, and that's men and women. I would like to tell a story of a man I recently started working with, and he's a older man. He's 55, and for the past couple of decades, he's been, for lack of a better term, a gigolo. And he's an incredible man. Like really, he's so fascinating and inspiring to me. He has incredible dignity, incredible beauty, and integrity. And he came from massage. He was giving massage to people, and he became a gigolo in the sense that he decided, after a couple of decades living for himself, that he wanted to be in service of. And he said, I'm going to spend my time, my life, being in service of women. And it's amazing how he talks about it. I could feel that he really he wants to be there for the other. And it's in a sexual way, you know. He liberates the sexual part in women. He lets them be. I shouldn't laugh in any way, you know, but he allows them to integrate, explore the whore in them. You know? And for decades he's been in service, and then we talk. He resonated with some of the talks we had or the newsletter, and he talks to me, and I notice in the way he talks that he's drained from it. Just being of service, he feels he gets very little back, and he gets very little back of the women, and he has no man in his life. He has no man that know where he's at, because even the men, when they hear gigolo, they laugh, or they say they admire him, they're just fascinated, and they don't see how lonely this man is. He's so lonely. And I saw him on that call, and this is the first time I talked to him. We talked for 2 hours, and I was just being there because I realized that he needed to be taken care of. And so I was just there for him, you know, seeing, asking, listening, being with him, you know. And he said, he was crying. Nobody ever saw me this way. He's just given, and nobody sees him. And if you can give that to a man, you know, from a man to a man, that's, I think, is the beginning of being an elder. You know, you see them, you're there for them, and it's incredible what we, created since then. You know, and why did I say it? I have the same, that yearning, you know, to be seen, and by other men. I think that's a great way of showing up as a brother, showing up as an elder. But I also realize I might be going off very much. But
well, coming back to these blocks that we have against brotherhood and eldership, you know, there are a lot of men who kind of just, the dream is like, just retire, play golf, you know, be comfortable and enjoy, you know, the rest of your days. And there's so many young men out here struggling, you know. And there's blocks towards the younger men receiving from elders. We don't have respect in American culture, respect for our elders, and respect in general. I would say we're missing a lot of just respect in general. And
so it's not easy to show up as an elder.
It's not.
Yes.
And so many young men even are not open to it.
Yes.
You know, and we ourselves as older men we're also like frustrated in how do I do that?
Yes.
So
how do you do that, Michael?
Well, and this deep longing, I think also in a lot of ways it's at the heart of everything that's fucked up in our culture, you know, from suicide to drug addiction to other kinds of addiction to a lot of violence, you know, men not having connection, men not feeling belonging, and men having a lot of shame rather than honor. It's destroying us. It's destroying us. So, okay, let's come back to this. What is being an elder? And then we'll come back to this feeling.
Yes, and then after that, I want you to say how that feeds into the event that we're creating.
All right. So, yeah, so you could say that being an elder is, I think, especially when there's this feeling to, you know, this other man in my life or this younger man in my life, like when you have an excuse to turn away from him, you know, and say, you know, fuck this guy, you know, like he's to this or that, or, you know, being an elder in that moment is not dealing with him on an equal playing field, or on an equal level of like just individual man to individual man, but basically saying, you know what, I'm gonna take care of this guy. I'm gonna put my arm around this guy, and I'm gonna lead us to glory. You know, I'm gonna lift him up. I'm going to elder him. You know, I'm going to, you could say, be the bigger man, but it's more than that. It's really like, I'm gonna take the lead. I'm gonna take the lead.
You use a lot of important terms like taking care and taking the lead, you know, but like what that is specifically, I've seen in my experience is hard, because you could be thinking you're taking care, you could be thinking you're leading, when really you're still judging and you're pedantically telling the other what to do. So what is the core, the heart of taking care? What makes it successfully taking care? What makes it successfully leading?
This is a great segue. It's a great segue into this feeling that I've touched on a few times. And it's a feeling I call honor. And so all judgment, all fear, all shame, all guilt, all resistance and doubt, all these things can be transmuted into this powerful feeling that occurs like a call from your soul to rise up and to lead. And it calls you to transcend the barriers that stand in the way of being loving in relationship, of being great in the face of fear.
Yes, it's also because you almost suggest it as a mantra, but it's also the touchstone for yourself to know if you're really taking care, if you're really leading. Meaning, and we talked about the feeling of honor and many other things, you know, but to know if you're really taking care is that person that you think you're taking care, do you feel honor in taking care of this person? Yeah. That's a real touchstone for yourself to know if you're taking care in the right way, or if you're judging and pedantically trying to have the other have it your way, you know, and justifying it for yourself with I'm taking care, I'm leading.
It's a great point.
It's your own feeling of honor.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I grew up Mormon, and there's very much an entrainment of the heart to notice what they would call a spiritual feeling, or even the Holy Ghost. It is this feeling of peace and warmth and expansion in the chest, and it's what many spiritual people would call a spiritual feeling. But when a man is following this, then he's easy for others to follow.
Yes.
You know, people can tell if you're leading from your ego and your judgments versus really leading from your heart.
You can feel it.
They can feel it. They can sense it, even if they can't put words on it.
Yes.
And so you become trustable when you are leading from that place. And that feeling is trustable.
Yes.
It's at the heart of
it doesn't lead you astray.
It's at the heart of feeling. Well, it's feeling called from with full yes, and it's just obvious. Yeah, this is the way to go. This heart-centered leadership is, in a way, following this feeling.
Yes.
You know, it's not about, in an egoic way, being this leader and being in charge.
Yes. It's because you following that feeling, you cultivate that feeling, you head towards it, you feel into it, you lean into it, that also because of that you're going to hear the call of being an elder. You're going to hear the call of being a brother. You're going to hear the call of lead all your relationships into glory with your friends, with your woman, with your community, you know. And so it really is about, you know, seeking that feeling. Where is it? Leaning into it, cultivating it, and then all the rest happens almost naturally.
Yeah, and in the West, we're kind of indoctrinated into seeking happiness. You know, life is about happiness and success. And for me, it's about honor and adventure. Yes. You know, even you could say brotherhood, but to experience life with honor as your metric,
yes,
rather than happiness as your metric, is transformational.
Yes.
And life becomes a great adventure in the process, a transformational adventure in the process. Meaning is inherent and deep and ever present when honor is the metric.
And this is what we're going to do in the live event? I'm looking to
yes
put a bow around
this. This is 100% what we're doing in the live event. So for those who've seen the Last Samurai, have you seen it?
Only 4 or 5 times.
Have you? Okay.
He asks me this every time.
There's so many great movies you haven't seen, so I forget which ones you have.
Rocky.
A few others. You haven't seen The Matrix, right?
I did.
Okay. Anyway,
Star Wars.
The Last Samurai, whether you like or dislike Hollywood movies
It's a great movie.
or Tom Cruise or whatever, you know, it is kind of a little awkward that, like, the Last Samurai, you know, this great, proud, indigenous people, he is the last samurai, this white dude, you know. Actually, no. You know, I actually thought that, and then I went back and watched it again. There's another dude who is actually the last samurai. But if the way the movie is, you would think it's him because he's the last one on the battlefield. And all the other Japanese surround him in a circle and kind of like bow down to him. Nevertheless, you know, I do have some. If I were doing the movie, I'd do it a little differently. But it's a great movie in the sense that there's this character arc of Tom Cruise and this journey to honor that he goes on. He starts off like he's a great soldier. He's had these epic battles. He has mastery in his life. He has victory. He has achievements. He has success. He has fame.
Yeah, fame.
He has fame. He has all these great worldly things, and he is suffering massively inside. He's tormented inside. He has no honor. He's tormented by these memories of things he's done, these compromises that he's made.
He also has no more honor because he had it before.
Yes, he's lost his honor. And this is how important honor is to a man. He might not have been able to put words to it, But what happens is, and he's an alcoholic, and he's killing himself. I say compromise kills, and it very much does. It slowly kills you, and you will kill yourself if you make enough compromise. You'll end up killing your soul and or taking your life eventually. But for most of us, it just chips away at us little by little. So he is recruited to go to Japan because they need great soldiers, great warriors, to go and train the Japanese military in their fight against the samurai, because the Japanese are modernizing under a new emperor, and the samurai are seen as an opposing force in a way, even though the samurai's commitment is to the emperor and to Japan. Like, they'll sacrifice their life, they'll sacrifice everything for that. So he goes to Japan, and he gets into a battle, and you can see this narrative. The guy who recruits him was I think his superior officer that led him into those compromises in America, and this same officer leads them into battle in Japan in a way with no honor. And then there's a moment where, in a moment of battle, as this kind of naive and untrained Japanese army is fighting the samurai, where it's either, I think it's Tom Cruise's character, but it might just be the camera. I'm not. I'd have to go back and watch it. Where you see the way. Oh no! So you see one of the Japanese committing seppuku. I think it's called seppuku, which is he's taking his own life, and in a way with honor, and the enemy samurai are letting him do this. And it kind of stuns him and puzzles him. He's seeing something there that's
he sees
he's
it.
In awe.
He's going back. He's passing with the horse, and he sees it. They're in the forest, and as he's stumbling by, he sees that, and he go past the tree, and it's great.
So then he gets taken hostage into the mountains, and he lives with the samurai for a season. And he sees this people live with honor in everything that they do. Every cup of tea they pour, every act is just infused with this sacred sense and this way of honor. And it saves him. It saves his soul. It saves his life. And he's reborn in a way as samurai. He takes on a new identity as samurai because his soul is saying, yes, honor is what was missing. Honor is what I needed.
Yes.
Just as an aside, this is what many people find when they get converted to a religion like Christianity, for example. They were living a life, having a lot of trouble guiding themselves because they were without honor. And with that, a lot of inner torment and conflict. And then they find a vessel, a pathway to honor in their life again. And it's like, yeah, this is life. This is me. This is the real me. This is the way it should be. And they become reborn and take on a new identity. This is the power of honor. And so he gets his life back. And honor is it's a curious thing because it's something that it's so powerful. Men will both kill for it and die for it. It's so powerful.
So if you want your life back, if you want to become a samurai, if you feel there's something in what we're saying right now, even if you can't put your finger on or articulate it, you feel, or something there, talk to us. because we're creating something very special, and it's not the same as other things where it's just a workshop you pay for. You know, for the right man, this will be a different thing. For the right man, there will be an invitation. So if you feel called right now,
This was a lot of people heard your story with Zan.
yes,
And you're completely transforming that relationship and becoming an elder in a way. It was a feeling of honor
yes.
that moved that. You know?
It is an incredible force, you know, and when you know how to use it and how to feel it and use it in your relationships, it's miracle work. You know, I've seen it with Zan and with ex-girlfriends, with my father, the father of ex-girlfriends. It's amazing. It's amazing.
You're not saying that your father was the father of your ex-girlfriends, right?
No.
Because that would be weird.
It's weird that you think that.
So, yeah, this event coming up, this is my life's work. It's what I'm here to do. And yes, I feel deeply called to come back for my younger brothers. And yeah, that may be you. So it's been 12 years since I've done this event, this training. We're redesigning it, recreating it anew. This will be the first time I do it solely for men. And yeah, excited to find more brothers, allies, and yes.
You hear the call, reach out. See you tomorrow.